Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We have an unbelievable guest speaker, just an awesomely great guy. He's out of Pace Morby Sub 2 community and is a rising rock star on a trajectory for success. He's a father, family man, started as a student like all of us did, became an investor, is now a very successful entrepreneur and a heck of a great guy. My good friend, Mr. Ben Lovro. Ben, how are you?
JJ, doing amazing, bro. I can't tell you what an honor it is to be hanging out with you and your audience today, man. You have a incredible community that you just nothing but value. For those of you that are tuning in with JJ, guys, this guy is a go-giver to the core,
Thank you,
right?
brother.
Just constantly identifying the gaps and figuring out how he can reach out to bring more people up and into the community. So hats off to you, JJ.
Thank you, my friend. I say it all the time, the biggest value that we get as real estate investors, that we take home, the biggest wealth is, we all want the money, and obviously we're going to make that money. That's our goal. Um, but the value of any community that we're participating in, it's not the curriculum, it's not the coaching, it's not the videos. The biggest goal are the relationships and the people that you meet. That's going to be the key to your success. And the way we achieve that's by making ourselves visible. And as you do that, to be consistent, you'll soon get to meet unbelievable people like Ben. And why social media? Because Ben's on one side of the country, I'm on the other. But as we've communicated, got to know one another, you find people that you just build rapport with, and to some extent, it's two things you have in common, which is what leads to building rapport. Anyhow, brother, it's so good to have you on today. Hey, for those that don't know you, where in the country are you located?
I'm in Columbia, South Carolina,
Oh man, I am
out
so
here,
friggin' envious.
Sun Belt.
That's like some beautiful territory down there.
It's God's country. God's
Oh
country.
man, yeah, I need to make a trip. I've been to Florida. Haven't been to that part of the Southeast. So Florida's more down to been to Miami and Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, but I want to get more up into the heartland there.
Yeah. There's a
Yes.
reason that people are mass migrating down to the South, man.
Yeah, I gotta buy now. So you and I met one another through Pace Morby's community sub too. Um, we're both real estate investors. We're a couple years apart. I think we're a couple weeks apart. You're in your 20s and I'm 85 or something, but we're a little closer than that. Everybody starts at a different time at a different way, and I kind of wanted to touch on your background a bit. We don't always get the same start. Some of us start younger and even our teens. I mean, we got Lane and his buddies on. I mean, these guys aren't even 21 yet, and they're starting to kill it. But some start in their teens or 20s or 30s. Some people like me, I didn't start the investment thing probably, to my 50s. Now I'm in my 60s. I'm like, I'm an old dog, as they say, but I still feel pretty good. But when you started, like, you're driving at 16, you're voting at 18, at 21, we could buy an alcoholic beverage. Lane's a couple of years from that still, but he'll get to be 21 soon. From your teens into your 20s, was real estate on the horizon for you? Was something that actually looked like something you were going to get into? Was mom an agent? Was dad a contractor? And if not, what were you doing from your teens and your 20s? We all started a different way. What was your start like from your
Yeah, man. I was running and gunning in my teens and early 20s, JJ. Um, Real estate was not even a hindsight. None of my family comes from a real estate background. I was a knucklehead kid. So at the time I was living that club life, right? I was a club DJ. Just running around with the wrong crowds, doing stuff I shouldn't be doing, right? Just up late night, spinning at nightclubs, festivals, dance parties, and it just took me into a really dark place, right? It started off as something fun, but along the process, right, as like drugs and addiction get involved, it took me way deeper down some dark places that I never thought I would have gone.
yeah.
Um, So it ended up leading me to picking up a pretty serious case at the age of 22, where I ended up going to prison for 5.5 years,
Wow.
right? Just raw and authentic up front. Um, it brought me down to rock bottom, right? Where I had no place to look but up. So here I was, a young kid where I made a lot of poor decisions and experimented with drugs. Um, but I came from like a middle class household, right? Blue collar household. I just made really poor decisions. And so through this transformation process, this is where God got a hold of my heart, right? That's where my life was transformed from the inside out because I had nowhere else to look, right? I was incarcerated. Um, so no, real estate wasn't even a thought until shortly after I got released. I got out October 6th, 2014. Um, moved into my auntie and uncle's basement, moved across the country, right? So I was born and raised in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Moved across the country to South Carolina just to reestablish myself, start off on a new page. And I just started working at a seafood restaurant downtown.
So you've
And
been in pretty much South Carolina ever since?
been here ever since. Yep.
Okay.
Going on a decade. It'll be 10 years this October.
So you got into the food industry first?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was a job. My uncle got me a job at this nice little seafood restaurant downtown Columbia called the Blue Marlin. And I just put my head down and I started working relentlessly, right? Like every single night I was working. So much to the point where if I wasn't scheduled, right, if there wasn't a shift on my schedule for the day, that morning I'd wake up and I'd just have my phone right there in front of me. Here I am eating a bowl of Wheaties, waiting for one of these college kids to give up their shift, right? Because I'm like, I'm gonna snatch this thing up before anybody else does. So I really put it in. I put a lot of hard work in early on, um, thinking I had to spin my wheels, right, and stay busy and build. And where that was necessary in the season, I've almost had to retrain my mind, right? Like here, a couple years later, I've been able to escape the restaurant life, been a full-time real estate investor for the past 7 years. Um, but I've had to retrain my mind, right?
Well,
I've had to learn how to unlearn all of these things that I've been taught even since being a kid, right? Like what the public education system teaches us that we have to work and stay busy. But as I progress as a business owner, I realize this is like almost opposite from the truth. Some of the most successful people that I know work a lot less, right? It's building and
well, and
crafting your life by
it also
design.
sounds like what you did was as you're getting in there, you're readjusting your life, that you're getting focused on developing discipline and having the priority to put all the pieces in place, which is a universal work habit, and it applies to any industry. So this seems like you're laying down the right foundation. Now, when you got back, how did you discover that you wanted to get into real estate, or what was it? Bigger pockets? What was some education program? What
Yeah,
kind of
so
what led you into real estate?
one of my buddies back home introduced me to a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? He actually gave me login credentials to his Audible account. He's like, "Bro, you got to read this." And so I remember vividly, I was standing in the kitchen of my girlfriend at the time. She's now my wife. Um, but I turned the book on. I'm like, listen, babe, we got to listen to this, right? And so we just started going through the first couple chapters and we actually listened to the book together. And before that book was over, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I made a commitment to myself. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but real estate is the vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out, right? I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to surround myself with the right people, and I'm going to figure out how I can break into the real estate space. It was that clear, right? So it was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Now, how long from then till you discovered Pace Morby?
Ooh, okay. So I started seeing Pace Morby around, I want to say maybe 4 years ago, right? Maybe like right around COVID, probably on his come up, right? But I didn't realize seeing him from a distance, right? Seeing some of the social media stuff come up. I was already building in the tracks, flipping houses, wholesaling houses. Um, I didn't lean in as much as I maybe should have at the time, right? I'm just like, hey, that's pretty cool, sub two. I knew about sub two. I done a couple sub two deals previously. Um, but it wasn't until I attended the All In conference, I want to say in 2021. So it was a little bit later in the game. Sub two was already established. Um, these sub two people just stood up, right? Like it's like, sub two, where you at? And literally like half of the freaking room stands up, right? Rocking sub two haps. And it was just
Was that in
inter-
Las Vegas?
that was in Arizona,
Okay.
Scottsdale. Yep. Just the amount of energy, excitement, enthusiasm in that room, all banding around the tribe that Pace Morby has built. I was like, dang, I'm like, I need to get myself in this room. Right. And at that conference, I talked to a couple people in that room too. Um, where this is the time we're right in the middle of hedge fund season, right? We were talking about this a couple days ago, JJ. But this is where interest rates were at all-time lows, and the big institutional capital was at play in the real estate market. And so we were wholesaling and day trading a lot of houses to these big hedge funds, big institutions, because they were cornering the market and paying way more than anyone else. And a couple of the guys are like, dude, you need to get involved. You need to check out Sub 2. It's incredible. There's no community like it. And he's like, there's so many people in this room that need people like you that they can connect with that can help close their deals. Right. And so I'm like, okay, this is it. And so as soon as I got home from that conference, that's where I found the Sub 2 link, scheduled a call, and I signed up that week.
So, Ben, you just mentioned something a second ago I wanted to touch on. We've got some new investors on the group. We have experienced investors on the group. And of course, on YouTube, watching weeks and months down the line, we have new investors, experienced investors. You mentioned hedge fund, and then, buying up a lot of opportunity. For those that aren't aware, what is a hedge fund?
Hedge fund is a private equity group that raises capital for the purpose of purchasing an asset, right? It could be bonds, it could be, some type of other security. Um, and in recent years, it's been single family real estate. So it's basically a group that pools money together, right? They raise private investment capital for the purpose to invest in something, right? For the money to make more money. Um, and hedge funds have been around for, solid decade plus,
Yeah,
15,
yeah.
probably 20 years. They started to get more active in the market around 2008, 2009 when things really kind of hit the fan. And that was like their first go at starting to really scoop up a lot of the houses. But somewhere around like 2016, 17 is where Wall Street identified single family real estate as an asset class, right? So they actually like pinged it as an investment vehicle. And so that's where we started to see big capital, Wall Street money starting to flood into the single family real estate space.
It's so crazy because, when I started with another group 6 years ago, all they really talked about was wholesaling and rehabbing. And there's so much more. There's multifamily, there's buy and hold, there's becoming a private money lender. And, the funding, the finance, the money is obviously crucial to be able to provide for as many deals as possible, whether we're buying them or selling them. And it's one of the things I'm really interested in these days is funding, gathering funds, collecting funds, pulling people together so that we can participate. So that's something I might be jumping on with you at another time with. Hey, your topic today is steps to becoming a go-to market authority. You become really visible in such a community. You're highly respected. You've obviously, become very polished and know your shit, as they say. Um, what can you share with us on the steps to becoming a go-to market authority?
Yeah. So JJ, this is an exciting topic, man. One, you opened up with like social media, refining your brand presence and why this is so important. But I don't realize if most people understand how important it really is to
It
build
being
a
what?
personal
It
brand,
being what, Ben?
building a personal brand.
Okay.
Yep. The importance of brand. And so I'm going to open up with this. This is something that my videographer brought to me about 2 months ago. Because he's a big history buff and he's excited. He started off as my video guy. He's recently migrated to one of my acquisitions managers, but he's just like the coolest freaking guy you'll meet, right? And so he texts me one night. He's like, dude, check it out. He's like, in the agrarian age, you owned land. In the industrial age, you owned a factory, right? Think about like big steel trusses factories. That's where we started to see more industrial revolution stuff, right? Agrarian age, you own land. Industrial age, you owned a factory. In the tech age, you owned a corporation. But today, personal brand is the new corporation. Think about that for a minute. Personal brand is the new corporation, where attention is the new currency, right? Kind of like data is the new oil money. But the more attention that you have, the more that you can captivate people, right? Captivate an audience and keep their attention, the more that you can transact relationships, the more that you can transact revenue, do business, close deals, right? It bridges the gap across so many levels. And so when you truly think about like the biggest players in the game today, what do they leverage? They're leveraging social media, right? They're building a personal brand because when you have the eyeballs and the attention, right? All you got to do is have a lead magnet and have a way for them to opt in for people. First, you got to be visible, be found. Then you got to bring people into your funnel, into your world, collect their email, however you're extracting that data, right? And once that email's in your system, you can follow them for life, but you can also give out tremendous value. And that's why the biggest names in the game are all in on social media.
That's so huge. I mean, I've been doing my little Zoom thing for, gosh, 4 years now. The group's been going for 6 years. But one of I got a whole bunch of different little quotes are on my webpage. You guys can go find them. But one of my favorite quotes is that, we want to become successful. Networking leads to visibility, and visibility leads to opportunity. It just goes right in hand with what you're saying. We all want, what do we want? We want not the opportunity to be successful, but the opportunity to surround ourselves with successful people. But to take advantage of any opportunity, through social media, we're all out there all across the country. It's networking. What is networking? You're saying this branding. Networking leads to visibility. When you brand yourself, you become visible. And, when you're visible and you have that brand, that's what leads to opportunity. So I just wanted to throw that in because exactly what you're talking about is one of the things I talk about. I just think it's so right on point. But please continue.
Yeah, it's huge, right? I felt like opening up with that really kind of helps set the stage, right? So we can understand like how powerful it can be when you position yourself as the market authority, whether that be in your local market, whether that be in a community, right? Like a sub two, but giving with value, right? Not like when I say market authority, please understand my heart. It's not, oh, this is me, right? Check out what we're doing, flashy type of thing, but it's more, hey, how can I lead with value, right? Forge relationships in the marketplace and help other people grow and become their greatest selves in the process, right? Because when you help other people win, not only do you win their heart, right? But you guys can team up and forge lifelong business partnerships as well, right? So
So true.
that's when I say market authority, just to clear the air, that's what I talk about. But the steps to becoming the go-to market authority, every single one of you on this call should be thinking about, okay, what market am I currently active in, right? Most of us, it's going to be in our backyard. Some of you guys might be doing this virtually, right? But you constantly want to be thinking about who do I need to know, right? Who do I need to know that I can add value to what they're already doing, right? Or if you're already in the game and you're cranking out deals and you have proof of concept, right? who in the market can I collaborate with where we can bring more opportunities into the fold, right? And so every day you should be constantly, like JJ says, forging relationships, right? But as you start to stack up that relationship capital, be thinking about how you can become more visible, right? Again, visibility creates opportunity.
Mhm.
I guarantee you there's people every single day in sub two that are like, hey, I've got a deal in, you name the market, right? So and so market. Who's your go to, right? Or who should I be talking to? And so you want to be top of mind whenever anybody talks about real estate, when anybody talks about lending, if that's your thing, right? The first thing that people should think about when they hear real estate, if you're a real estate investor, should be Ben, that's my guy, right? That's my guy. If you're a local real estate agent, right, you want to be top of mind when real estate comes up. And so becoming a local authority, guys, gives you leverage where you can increase revenue without the ad spend, right? Like, yes, I pay for video production. Yes, it's been a work in progress to really grow where we're at today. But at the end of the day, this organic type of growth brings more visibility. And I'm not constantly dishing out $20,000, $30,000 in ad spend like I used to 3, 4 years ago, right? More opportunities come to me because of what we've positioned ourselves to be.
Mr. Lane Anderson,
Yeah, what's up,
you were
Ben?
on with Ben with the
Mr.
question.
Anderson.
Hi, nice to meet you. First, we're getting ready to have to run, so I did just want to introduce myself before we come across that. But I did also have a question for Ben. You talk about a lot about yourself of like in the early stages, it's more important to have other people market you rather than marketing your business to yourself, you know. So as I guess we're early on in our business and, you know, we're obviously young men, so credibility is one thing that, you know, we run into as an objection sometimes. So with our situation, I guess my question is, what would you suggest in terms of specifically how do we, you know, overcome that specific objection of like the age credibility thing, you know, in terms of getting people to market us?
Okay, getting people to market you like other investors or
Sure,
who?
yeah. Or like so like JJ and I met at Squad Up Summit, and so that was you know a conversation we had. But I mean, other than you know obviously you know in-person networking events, or is that the answer? You know, it's you just got to get your face in front of people.
Let me just say this, man. I feel like the young bucks, right? 19, 20, 21 years old. Like, dude, you're not giving yourselves enough credit. When I see somebody of your age and your stature at an event or in this space, right, that's in these trenches, rolling up your sleeves to build a legacy, dude, I'm like, this kid's got it figured out, right? If I had the mindset that you guys have at 20 years old, I'd be in a far different place than I am today, right? I'm highly blessed for where we've been based on my past, but when I think about young bucks in the game, man, it's almost like it really makes you think, right? Like it resonates at a far deeper level. So honestly, man, I'd say like more than anything, get rid of the self-limiting beliefs, thinking that you're young, right? Because
Right.
dude, being young is a superpower.
Right.
Like, do you know how much JJ or me would give to be 20 years old again?
Oh
Right?
yeah.
If we could take like the lessons that we've acquired along the way and just reverse time to like, hey, maybe I could build it better this time. Like, dude, you've got so much opportunity and so much life in front of you.
Sure.
And so by stepping out and building relationships, whether it be other investors, whether it be with, you know, motivated home sellers, I don't know if you're doing direct to seller marketing, but dude, leverage leverage yourself,
Yeah.
leverage being authentic, right? Like authenticity is going to take you way further than some other guy that's trying to stand behind this, you know, this tough guys or this, you know, facade of what they want everyone else to think, right? Like being authentic, man, is probably one of the most underrated skills inside of the marketing space, right? Like just be real, dude,
Yeah.
I
and have
appreciate that.
confidence in your ability. But you
Yeah.
don't, I mean, even if you've never done a deal, let's say you guys are clearly going to a closing this afternoon, right? Like,
Get there.
you know, Matt, how many people would like give their left arm to make what you're making today in, you know, even a quarter of a year? It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
dude, that in itself is incredible.
For sure. Well, I appreciate that, Ben. That means a lot.
Absolutely.
You know, Lane, let me add something to that. I get asked all the time by investors of any age, I don't know anything. I'm new. I don't bring any value. I'm really apprehensive about going to some meetup and talking to people. And I met you at basically a meetup. It's a very large
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
When we're new and we want to build a relationship with successful people, they're not going to measure whether or not they want to interact with us based on our experience because we don't have experience, right? Especially, I'll even say younger people. They're less likely to have as many years in the field. So the experienced investors that are going often have a lot of experience of their own. They're will be happy to meet some of their peers, but more likely they're going to be meeting newer people.
Sure.
What they're looking for are people they can work with, that can fall under their umbrella, maybe as a protege, maybe as a mentee, as a student,
Boom.
right? Who are they going to take their time to let into their circle? They're not going to make that decision based upon your wealth of experience and your wealth of knowledge, especially when you're new.
That's valid.
What they're going to measure you on is how you interact with them, because what you're going to do when you're working with them is interact with other people.
Sure.
So how are you interacting with them? Are you able to build rapport? Are you discovering commonality? What are you going to talk about when you talk to people? You can talk just about real estate. We all have real estate. What else you got? What else you got? Right? It's like, what else you put on your Facebook page? If you ask Henry behind is a Facebook wizard, right? So what if you ask Henry, you want to lead with family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, the acronym Ford, like the automobile. Are you married? Do you have any kids? What's your favorite sport team? Oh, you're wearing a Stanford hat, a University of Miami. Or did you go to school there? You see what makes them go pitter pat, but it's your ability as an individual, as Ben was saying, how genuine can you be in your desire to get to learn about them, not tell them about you, but the better you are to develop rapport and show them that you can interact with others, is they're going to say, oh my God, I want this guy working for me.
Right.
I've got 4,400 people in my group today. I built that organically over 6 years. So you can build the same thing one person at a time. But as you're interacting with people, one person at a time, you see who you're resonating with, who resonates with you. It's got to be genuine. You got to bring it.
Yeah.
You have to have personality. You have to step outside of the box.
Yeah.
You have to be memorable, because if you're not memorable, you're forgettable. But I just wanted to share that. It's not about getting other people to market you.
Right.
Other people are going to market you when they love you.
Right. We had another speaker at one of our events about a month ago, and I asked him a similar question just about, marketing yourself when you're new in your career as a whole. And that was kind of how he answered that, was with the don't market yourself, have other people market you. And so what you were talking about kind of resonated with that to me. And so I just wanted to kind of see your take on that. But JJ, I appreciate you breaking that down a little further for me, man.
Yeah, other people will market you when they love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to build the relationship first. I say it all the time. Don't chase the deal, chase the relationship. Don't worry about people that you're not resonating with, because they're not worth your time.
Right.
Find your tribe. Your vibe is your tribe, as Pace says. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate that, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your question, guys. As you've moved along, how have you found? I mean, you've got people that you work with. You've got a team. You probably had new people come along the way. What do you look for when you're talking to younger people or newer investors of any age?
I'd say number one, man, is character, right? You got to have good, genuine character. Not like you can always sniff out a dirt bag from, phone call number one or whatever, but character's got to be number one, right? And then after that, you've got to have enough wit to you to be able to look at a deal and at least understand like a basic understanding of comps. The reason I say that, JJ, is especially when the institutions were really big, and we positioned ourselves as like the go-to authority because we had relationships with the biggest hedge funds in the market. Majority of my underwriters' time was spent looking at trash deals, right? Like we broke it down in such a simple framework. Like bed bath count, zip codes, location, types of properties. Like we gave you the blueprint, the type of property avatar, but majority of our time was spent looking at houses that were nothing remotely close to the criteria, to the locations, right? So I say that to say just a little bit of common sense, right? You got to have good character, and you got to have enough common sense not to waste other people's time, right? Um Not like I'm short on rush people off of calls or just like keep them out of our community because they send us a junk deal. It happens, right? There's going to be deals that just don't work. But when hedge fund season is gone, right? That ship has sailed. It's not really even a conversation anymore. Um, right. So this is more kind of like back reference. But when you ask me like what I'm looking for, man, good character. You got to be open and moldable. You got to be able to carry on a conversation, right? And you got to have passion and drive, right? Just be passionate about, love what you do, have a good attitude, right? That actually might be number one. Have a positive attitude when you show up, right? Show up every single day. When you show up at life, have a positive attitude, have a smile on your face, and act like you actually want to be here,
Yeah,
right? Because there's tons of people that don't have a chance to live, right? That don't have breath in their lungs. And just the gift of today, if you're not excited to jump out of bed, right, to figure out how you can work towards becoming your greatest self or how you can add value and help somebody else out, or if, give your time away to, go feed the homeless, whatever passion you have, just have a good attitude, right? Like that's half of the battle.
exactly. No, no, you've obviously got the energy, you've got the attitude, you've got great personality, and I can see why you've escalated so quickly within the community. I, you know, you resonate with me. I think you're a great guy, and we realize that we're going to meet people we don't always resonate with. You resonate with me. I think you're awesome. Um, I wanted to ask you, as we're kind of rolling in here, I'm sure people are going to want to follow up with you. I want people to know how to reach you if they have any questions. Um, what is the best way if people want to connect with you down the line? Would it be through your MySpace page? I know you're really big on MySpace, right?
Don't look for me on MySpace. I'm sure there's an old profile somewhere back in the day, but that
There you
was
go.
pre-incarceration. We'll just say that. No, Ben Lovro on all channels, right? Like Google me. Find me on Facebook. We got a YouTube channel. Facebook, LinkedIn, Google. We do our best to stay active on all platforms. Love to connect, right? Love to see how we can collaborate in some shape or form. We're not doing as much virtual stuff anymore. Like we were pretty active in, 25 different markets. But now with the market shift, it's really caused us to focus a little bit more local, and we're a lot more flip heavy, right? Like we're buying aggressively across the state of South Carolina. But yeah, just reach out any platform, and I will respond.
Fantastic. But I had one last question for you. Um, this kind of touches into what you've talked about today. My group's a networking group. I don't talk about short sales or raising money or wholesaling or rehabbing, but I talk about networking, the importance of that. There are so many different education groups out there today that each have a Facebook page for their membership community. And each community is brand new, inexperienced, and brand new experienced investors coming every day to these education groups that have a social media platform, which is often a Facebook page for their community, to engage with others and network. And I realize that, in my opinion, probably 90% of every group just doesn't use social media to market themselves. What is the importance of using and leveraging social media to the success of whether it be the new or the experienced investors' success? What's the importance of social media networking for the real estate investor?
Well, social media is the new form of marketing, right? Billboards are kind of dead. You can cold call, right? But that's transactional relationships. when you're able to network on social media, whether it be creating a Facebook yourself and bringing your people and your tribe inside of there, or going out there and networking in other groups, becoming visible, um, it's evergreen, right? Because it's not transactional, but you're building relationships today and you're planting seeds along the way that can ultimately feed you for years to come, right? It's not just like, it's not a transactional relationship like most of your direct sellers where close the deal, you might send them a thank you card and it's done. But in social media, you can bring your tribe together, right? You can get all your people into one place and you can collaborate with them on a continuous basis, right? It's evergreen. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, no, that is so key. Um, Hey, brother, I just want to thank you for being on the call today. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you better, hear a little bit about your story, which I think is huge. You have, become a role model for success. You've overcome challenges and difficulties. There's a lot of young guys on the call, and there will be young people on on the YouTube channel. Um, that you've come from a similar place. I was raised in LA. I was raised in Hollywood. And I had a lot of my buddies that I grew up with that didn't get out. We didn't get out of college, didn't get out of the tough environment, rough environment. And so those of us that have been fortunate enough to get to the next level, if not succeed, uh, I think you're a role model. I think you're an example, you're an icon of success, of working hard. And I just thank you for your time, for your friendship, and for joining us today.
JJ, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, and I can't wait till your kids are bigger. Get out to California. We'll go to
Yeah.
Disneyland, do a couple other things out here. So, hey, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, please like Ben's video. Please like his presentation. Put in the comments what your takeaways were about what you found informative. uh, you know, and if there's any way that we can improve what we're doing, what I'm doing as a host, maybe what I can do to make our product better. Again, if you want to, follow up with Ben, he's on Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. Pretty much on every single platform is Ben Lovro, right?
Yep. Ben Lovro across the board.
There you go. If you want to connect with me, guys, this here is the QR code to join my group. Just hit the register now button. Over here, we've got my website directly above and my Instagram. Feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, come join us with my networking group, JJ's Mastermind Networking. Let me introduce you to people that can help you grow your business. Let me show you how to market yourself and how to brand yourself, and just surround yourself with like-minded people. So Ben, I guess, hey, if you guys are on the call, don't go away. We're going to do some networking, some live networking. And Ben, for everybody else, we'll see them out in the land of Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and social media, right?
Love it. That's it, man. Social media is not going anywhere, right? In fact, social media is in its teenage stage right now. It's going to continue to get more and more and more important, right? So again, the seed you plant today, the relationships that you cultivate are going to feed you for years to come. So lean in, guys. Look forward to connecting. JJ, much love, man. It's been a
There you
pleasure.
go. Guys, network with intention. If you're not memorable, you're forgettable. You need to stand out. Stand out. So we'll see y'all later, guys. Thank you so much.